County Judge Martha Ponce.
Present.
Commissioner Jose Rivera.
Here.
Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Here.
Commissioner Teresa Calamante. Present. Commissioner Rivera Rubalcaba. Here. All present.
We do have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance and salute the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag, pledge allegiance to Texas, one state under God, one nation.
One point four, testimonial oath for presenters. Please be advised if you are here to present today that you are under oath. 1.5, public comments. Any public comment will be allowed. Agenda items for record.
Judge, I submitted the public comment. I'm sending a agenda request form to open discussion on policy for Commissioners Court approval for travel. I want a clarification on that. I'm also setting another agenda request item to request monthly report from sports complex manager. If any other commissioners would be so kind to want to sign my agenda request items, I would appreciate it.
Judge, I do have an item for the next community sport that I need to place in the next action item, so if y'all don't mind, I'd appreciate another 2 signatures.
Commissioner McCall.
Judge, I want to thank Constable Rosas and the sheriff for helping me out with the Easter egg hunt. It was a huge success. My workers volunteered to help me. We used our county vehicles to haul 240 baskets, Easter baskets to the park, 7,700 Easter eggs. So the kids had an amazing afternoon yesterday. So thank you, Mr. Rosas and sheriff.
1.6, approval of minutes, regular meeting March 24th, 2025, and special meeting April 2nd, 2025.
Before we go on to the area, Commissioner, that would like to sign it, or not sign it as well?
Subject to the directions of
Thank you, Commissioner Noguera. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 2.1, informational explanation of process for Mineral Counts Capital Appraisal Group.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Taylor Renfro, and this is Leah Whiteman with the Capital Appraisal Group. The reason we're here today is I think there's been some confusion on some of the processes that we perform in our appraisals. So we're here to try to clear the muddy waters and help y'all understand and answer any questions that you might have. Leo?
Thank you, Your Honors. Pleases the court. My name is Leo Weidman. I have 35 years of experience as a petroleum engineer. And I worked for Majors, independent and consulting firm in that time period. I've been in capital appraisals for the last 3 years and I'm licensed by the CPL. The general process for how we do an appraisal is very simple. We collect data from the Railroad Commission on oil and gas production. We collect data from the Texas Comptroller's Office on sales and revenues. And from those 2 pieces of information, we can infer a price, we make a forecast for that production, and we generate a series of cash flows. The cash flows are then discounted back to today's dollars. And from that, we have a value that we can put on the appraisal roll, regardless of ownership. I do the 100% value appraisal, and then we hand that appraisal value off to our division order analysts. They receive ownership data from the operator of those wells, and from then we kind of break it up into the pieces of the pie of who owns what. We hand that over to the tax office, and then from that, after they've established the tax rate, they know who to send the bills to. So that's the general process for how we do things. What precipitated my coming to you, as I understand it, was an ownership correction. So somebody owned too much, according to our records, and somebody owned not enough. And so once we balanced that, it was a net zero change in terms of value attributable to the county. But we try to make things right when somebody doesn't owe what we thought they did. And so once we found that error correction from the operator, we submitted a supplement order so that they can receive the proper tax bill. As I understand, penalties and interest were involved, but that's not the business that we're in. We just do value. Penalties and interest is the business of the tax office. But not only was there a net zero change to the appraisal roll and hence the tax roll, but Capital Appraisal Group had added $223 million of value post-certification in October. And so it went from $7.27 billion of mineral value to $7.5 billion. And so you may be asking how and why this would happen at that time of the year. It has everything to do with the way that we handle our supplemental timing. So because we receive information from government agencies in arrears, which means if a well is drilled, for example, in December, we want to capture it for the next appraisal year. Well, the production would not typically be reported until the product is sold, which would happen at the end of the first productive month, hence January, after the appraisal date. And then that production being reported would not be publicly available until 3 to 4 months later for both the Railroad Commission production website and the Texas Comptroller sales website. So oftentimes we get data mid-year for products that should be captured as of January 1st of that appraisal year. So we make about 99% of our estimates prior to April so that we can send appraisal notices out and abide by the Texas Property Code, giving people adequate time to make protests for their values. We settle those protests and we certify in October. And then we address anything that we need to clean up, any data that has come in late because of the way that the agencies report. And so typically we send those supplemental notices out in the third or fourth quarter of the year, hence adding something to an appraisal roll that is already certified. And so we're not sandbagging, we're just trying to back clean up and add the appropriate amount of value that is due the county. Many appraisal firms don't do this, they would just typically wait until the next appraisal year to capture that value, but we believe in maximizing the value for our clients, and the county is our client. So, Railroad Commission arrears, operators reporting late, the April notice deadline allowing for adequate time to protest within the statutory window, and then we also do perimeter sweeps, which means we try to capture as much value as we can for wells that initiate outside of the county. But because of horizontal drilling, they enter the boundaries of the county. A lot of appraisal firms don't do that either. They just look at what was drilled in county and remain 100% in county. But we try to do those perimeter sweeps. And so part of that $223 million is capturing things that have crossed over into Dimmit County, for example, from Zavala and Maverick. So we maximize value for the county, we do constant monitoring, and we do precision cash flow forecasting, supplements, perimeter sweeps, and protest negotiations. And so with that, I've presented the information that I wanted to share with you. I would be open to following up if you had any questions. And also want to make an invitation to the Commissioners Court for our roadshow forecast, where we kind of give an indication of what direction it's going to go for 2025. And that's going to be April 28th. At 1:30 at the CAT office. Thank you.
Can you repeat that again, the roadshow what?
We're going to do a mineral review, a mineral forecast for what values we think are going to do prior to putting out the notices and prior to certification. It's April the 28th, it's in 2 weeks, and it's at 1:30 p.m. at the Appraisal District office.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So do y'all have any questions?
I have one.
No, not really, because it's informational,
Okay.
so we really can't question or vote on it.
Okay.
But we can put you on the next one, Ms. Tilly, for agenda item if you want us to.
They had ordered, y'all can reach out to us through Roma, and if you've got any questions.
I'd rather have it here in public.
Okay.
So that's a request, next Commissioner's Court to have them on the agenda, to be able to ask questions.
Okay.
And if that, I think that there may be a commissioner's court meeting the same day as our roadshow presentation in the afternoon. So I would be down for that.
We do get scheduled for that one.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to call 2.4, the recognition of the Carrizo Springs Independent School District, Consolidated Independent School District golf team, and specifically Mr. Hunter Udenda for advancing to regionals. We would like to proudly present to him a certificate on congratulating Hunter for advancing to regionals and representing Dimmit County and Carrizo Springs School District specifically. On behalf of myself and my staff, Hunter, I do want to congratulate you. I'm sure you've worked tirelessly and put a lot of work into your golf, and so I want to thank you for that, and I wanted, to give this opportunity to our Commissioners Court to recognize you for your work and your effort in trying to put Dimmit County on the map in sports, specifically golf. So if any other commissioners have anything else they'd like to say?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate Hunter, being for the record that he is my nephew. I'm extremely proud of you for the determination that you've showed in the sport. You've done a great job of setting an example for a lot of youth, and especially your younger cousin that's following your tracks and trying to compete with you as well. So with that said, I'm extremely proud of you, Hunter, and best wishes to you next week. And just do your best and have fun.
Congratulations, Hunter. I know your family is all cowboy, rodeo and all that, but for you to accomplish in being in the golf program, thank you very much. Your parents for dedicating their time with you. It's hard, sometimes they gotta make plans, but having the support of them is very, very implicit. And once again, I'd like to congratulate you on that.
Hunter Urenda is actually my nephew as well. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of the mental mindset that you have, that you accomplish anything that you put your mind to. I love your dedication to whatever it is that you're doing. I'm very proud of you, and I'm so honored to be able to be up here to recognize you in this moment. I love you.
Hunter, can you please stand up? Will we all give him an applause, please? I want to congratulate you, your parents, for all your hard work, and continue doing what you're doing. Congratulations.
And before we go to the front, we'd like to take a picture with you, Hunter, so we're going to put you on the hot spot. But I do want, before we do that, I do want to also thank the coaches, Coach Escamilla and Coach Cardenas, for also putting in the time with our youth, specifically the boys golf team. I know that also takes away from family time from you guys, and you guys do it so passionately. So thank you, coaches, also for making it happen for Hunter and the rest of the golf team. We wish you the very best at regionals, and keep on representing Carrizo Springs proudly. Thank you. And if we could have the coaches come from there as well.
Where would you like to stand? You can do one coach on this side, one on this side. That's all right.
You ready?
Congratulations.
For Coach Escamilla for being a new father.
Oh, congratulations.
2.2 informational course completion for both Public Information Act and Open Meetings Act.
Judge, I have this on just informational. I completed the course needed for the Public Information Act and the Open Meetings Act. I just like to submit it for record. Ms. McDaniel. You got my certifications?
3.1 approval of bonds. The bonds. 2.3 has been moved to an action item. We have one bonding request, and that is out of the Justice of the Peace Precinct 4.
Oh, no, I
Yeah, I got it. This is just, you can look at it.
Motion to approve it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.2, discussion and appropriate action, approval of the use of the Big Wells Recreational Center for a nonprofit fundraiser for the Adrian Martinez Memorial Scholarship and the Cindy Martinez Rivera Legacy Scholarship.
Good
Morning.
So I was just wanted to ask for permission to use the Big Wells Recreational Center. We're raising money for scholarships through a volleyball tournament, which will start at 8:30 a.m. and hopefully end around 7 p.m. Yes, it's going to be a nonprofit.
Is this fee set at $50 for nonprofit? I will cover the fee for you guys in the motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Montes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Abby. 3.3, discussion and appropriate action, presentation of Dimmit County Public Health Activity Report, Texas Department of State Health Services, Region 8, 2024 Annual Report.
morning, sir. My name is Tanya Rodriguez. I'm an LPN. I'm the Public Health Prevention Specialist for the Texas Department of State and Services. We serve Frio, LaSalle, Dimmit, and Zavala counties. Today with me are Stephanie Del Toro, Catherine Velasquez, CHI Manager, Diane Bernal, Specialized Health and Social Services Manager, Marisa Hernandez, Lorena Filan, and Elise Rush with epidemiology. Our field office consists of Marta Salazar, RN, public health nurse, who is not here today, and Stephanie Del Toro, and Amanda McCazet, who is our immunization tech, and she is also not here. For Dimmit County, we had 84 newly reported STDs, 5 foodborne illnesses, 4 vaccine-preventable diseases, 0 rabies-positive animals, and 0 residents exposed to tuberculosis. We administered 216 vaccines. We had 20 inspections completed, 1 resident day of social services. We teach multiple courses to county residents on health topics such as stopping drug use, heat safety, breastfeeding, and more. We provide resources for local school nurses. We distribute, install, and inspect child car seats. We provide directly absorbed tuberculosis therapy. We provide STD testing and treatment. And we provide vaccines for underinsured and uninsured children and uninsured adults. Our field office information is 1009 North Oak Street, Suite A in Pearsall, Texas. Our phone number is 830-334-4104. Our sanitarian is Galina Banuelos. Her number is 210-501-5261. Our regional headquarters is located at 7430 Lewis Pasture Drive in San Antonio, Texas. Phone number is 210-949-2000. And our 24/7 hotline number is 210-949-2121. Do you have any questions or concerns?
I know that you said your office is out of Pearsall, but these numbers are for Dimmit, right?
If you could, yes, these numbers right here are for Dimmit, but our field office is located in Pearsall. We cover Dimmit County.
And I'm sorry, just because I'm new to this, is this a program that is free?
So for STD testing, yes. And right now, we are not charging for vaccines. We do the VFC program, which is, like I said, it was for uninsured and underinsured children and uninsured adults. We had a $10 fee, but right now that fee is waived.
And you're not just in Pearsall, do you also come to the places do you set up here in the area?
So we don't have anywhere that, like a set place in Dimmit County, but if we're invited to any events or, just anything in town, then we'll set up where we're invited to.
Oh, no. Thank you for that information. I don't have any more questions.
Anybody else have questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. The 4 diseases that could have been prevented by vaccines, what were they?
I don't have a specific, but most likely flu, but like I said, I don't have a specific.
Nothing just up from the panhandle.
No measles in Dimmit County as of right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to approve the 2024 Annual Region 8 Report.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba.
Second.
I heard you, but I just need to find my paper. Where did it go? Here it is. Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba, second by Commissioner Talamantes. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you. 3.4, discussion and appropriate action, approval of Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation, April 2025, Department of Family and Protective Services. We have the Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation for April 2025, whereas in federal fiscal year 2023, 217 reports of child abuse or neglect were made to the Texas Department of Protective and Regulatory Service, with 90 confirmed victims of abuse or neglect here in Dimmit County. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are most valuable resources and will shape the future of the state of Texas and Dimmit County, whereas child abuse can have a long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse, and whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and development well-being of children, and whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health community, faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities make every effort to promote programs, activities that create strong and thriving children and families, and whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase the awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote that social and emotional well-being of children and families in safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas the prevention remains the best defense for our children and our families. Now therefore I do, Martha Ponce, County Judge, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Dimmit County, Texas, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of Dimmit County to be affixed on this 14th day of April 2025 and here in Dimmit County. Now entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Talamantes.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Is that it, Ms. Reyes? Just this proclamation? If we want to come to the front, Commissioner Talamantes had a good idea for us to put forward so that we can show unity with you guys at the Department of Family and Protective Services for a picture.
Come on, Mr. Come on. You look like you do. Okay. Thank Approval of National County Government Month Proclamation, April 2025. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 330 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities, and whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives, and whereas counties as intergovernmental partners enact local, state, and federal programs to address the needs of all residents, and whereas Dimmit County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect, enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways, and whereas each year since 1991,
the National Association of Counties, NACO, has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibility, programs, and services. And whereas Dimmit County strives to promote the growth and success of our community, from celebrating student performances to recognizing infrastructure improvements that improve services to our constituents. Now therefore be it resolved, the Commissioners Court and myself, Marta Ponce, County Judge, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government celebration activities signed on this 14th day of April 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, second by Commissioner Talamantes.
It was Commissioner Zuccarello.
Okay, I'm sorry. Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.6, discussion and appropriate action to execute interlocal agreement with 6S Engineering Services for engineering services for Dimmit County, Texas, TX CDBG grant CFC 25-0241.
Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
What we have presented to you is the score sheet that we developed with, in conjunction with Selena. It's, we received 3 proposals for on the evaluation of engineering. One was 6S, one was Meta, and the other was Fulcrum. There was Selena, Valerie, and Pereira, who met on several days. We reviewed qualifications of the engineer. The only question they had was on their references. So what Ms. Rivera did, she went back and she contacted some of the references just to make sure that the work that they provided is work that, will be for something that the county can, give. If they're going to go into a contract, we want to make sure that that is the engineering company that we want to make sure that we move forward with. So what you have before you is the simple spreadsheet on top, and it has the scores. And I think the one should be at 100 was 6S.
Any questions? I will entertain a motion to approve the agreement with 6S Engineering, Inc. based on the scores provided by Ms. Rodriguez, Commissioner Rubalcaba, and Mr. Pereira.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Urenda,
Second.
second by Commissioner Carmona. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
3.7, discussion and appropriate action to approve the Operation Lone Star FY26 Grant 4375904 resolution. Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, I believe I need to change something. I believe I need to change the date on there. The date was for last commissioner's report. For your week. So I can provide you guys with an updated one, with a more accurate date for the date.
Did you say that the mic's not working? Is the mic working? Javi, okay. Thank you.
Did y'all hear me previously or did I have to repeat myself?
I kind of heard a little bit of it.
I need to provide you guys with an updated resolution, though I believe the resolution that I provided has the last commissioner's court date for approvals.
And these are 2 resolutions, right? One for
Yes.
the fire and
One
one
of
for
them, yes.
Oh yeah, the fire one's the next one. Commissioner.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. 3.8 is the fire one. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Odena. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.8, discussion and appropriate action to approve the Border Zone Fire Department FY26 Grant 551500 resolution. That's the fire one.
The same applies for that one that has last Commissioner's Court date. I just gotta provide you guys with an update.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Odena, second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. 3.9, discussion and appropriate action, a monthly report from County Extension Agent Ms. Alyssa Cruz for the month of March 2025.
Good morning, Judge and
Morning.
Commissioners.
Good
morning.
So for the month of March, I held a pesticide applicator training. I had 2 attendees attend that. We had our monthly parent leaders and 4-H club meetings throughout the month as well. And we had a couple of our kids participate in the District 12 4-H shooting sport contest. We're pending results on that. And then coming up, I have a few flyers that y'all should have. We'll be having the multi-county water well screening happening on the 16th. And then a rainwater harvesting tour April 17th in McMullen County. And then April 29th, I'll be hosting a South Texas Agriculture Symposium there at the arena from 8 to 12:30. And it's a virtual program, but in-person attendance is required. And that one was hosted by a couple of our AgriLife Extension specialists that'll be presenting for that one.
On the water well one, Ms. Cruz, is there like a specific sample collection container?
Yes, so we do have sample bags and sample bottles, containers there at the office for pickup with an instruction packet and then a form that they need to fill out. And those can be filled out the same day that they drop them off, or if they just want to bring it in a clean water bottle, their sample in a clean water bottle, that works too.
That for testing the water?
Yes.
Yes, on the,
Did that have like a $30 or $35?
it's 15, Commissioner, on the $15 per.
Are the sample vials available to be picked up already?
Yes.
Maybe we just have to 30.
What was that, Commissioner?
If the vials are available for pickup already.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.10, discussion and appropriate action, approval for County Extension Agent Ms. Alyssa Cruz to attend the TCF Free Yard Tech Program April 23rd to the 25th in Kingsville.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. 3.11, monthly report from FCH Agent Ms. Carissa Munoz for the month of March 2025.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So in March, we wrapped up the Cooking Well and Healthy Blood Pressure class in Big Wells. We continued with the Promoting Early Education web series, which will continue through October. The Do Will Be Will with Diabetes class started with our Wesley nurse is leading that. It's the first program that she's doing here in our county, and she has about 5 participants, and that'll end this Thursday. And then we did have some food show workshops for our kids who participated in the district food show roundup. And then we have a new program starting tomorrow, which is the Growing and Nourishing Healthy Communities program in Catarina, which will be the first one. So we're hoping that we have a good attendance. We did run into a few people at this past weekend's autism walk who are from Catarina that are going to go. So it's kind of exciting that the word is getting out about that.
Where in Catarina is this going to be
At
at?
the park.
At the park.
Yes, thankfully the coalition is helping with that, and it's Commissioner Noguera, and then SM Energy is also helping to provide the materials to build the raised garden beds.
Any questions of Ms. Munoz?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba,
Second.
second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Munoz. 3.12, discussion and appropriate action. Report from Rodeo Arena Event Coordinator, Ms. Jasmine Boone, for the month of March 2025.
Good morning.
Morning. Any questions? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Boone. 3.14, discussion, 3.13, discussion and appropriate action monthly report from Dimmit County Golf Course for the month of March 2025.
Good morning.
Morning.
With the cooler weather coming in, are you getting a lot more people out there?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Further questions of Mrs. Hyman? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion. Motion by Commissioner Talamantes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hyman. 3.14, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 1, Mr. Rudy Lopez, for the month of March 2025.
Morning, Commissioner. Morning.
Morning. Questions of Constable Lopez?
Motion.
Who motioned it? Motion by Commissioner Urenda,
Second.
second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Constable.
Thank you.
3.15, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 2. I'm going to motion to table the item.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.16, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 3, Mr. Robert Valderas and Juventino Torres for the month of March 2025.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning, Constable.
Constable, are you still having issue with unrestrained animals?
Yes.
It's an inside joke. Yesterday he made fun of me.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Urenda.
Second.
Who was that?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Constable.
Thank you.
3.17, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 4, Mr. Manuel Rosas, for the month of March 2025.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to, any questions? You have a question? Motion to approve by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.18, discussion appropriate action to approve Reserve Deputy Giovanni Cortez for the Dimmit County Constable Office Precinct 4.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.19, thank you, Constable. 3.19, discussion and appropriate action, approval for County Judge Marta Ponce, Court Coordinator Julissa Sanchez Alvarado, County Clerk Claudia McDaniel, and Deputy Clerk Belinda Sandoval to attend the 2025 Probate Academy on May 6, 2025 in Lubbock, Texas.
Judge, I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The clerk, where is her travel going to get deducted from?
The county clerk?
Yes, no, not the county clerk.
Deputy?
yours. Yes, your clerk.
My court coordinator?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the county judge's budget.
The same with ours?
It comes from the same budget. This is the same course, Commissioners, Commissioner Talamantes, from last year that we attend annually for the Probate Academy in order for us to keep up with our probate court that we have. And in the probate court, we have Ms. McDaniel as the clerk and her, Ms. Belinda, and Julissa Talamantes, Julissa Sanchez is the coordinator for the probate clerk. So this is just a repeat from last year's.
The other driving to this, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Odena,
Second.
second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.20, discussion and appropriate action to approve the joint resolution requesting the continuation of the 293rd Judicial District serving Dimmit and Zavala counties. And as requested by Commissioner Talamantes, I went ahead and did what you asked, which is, here you go, Commissioner Ogawa. I met with Mr. Pereira and got you guys the numbers that were requested for Commissioner Odena. And as you can see, I do want to put on the record, or for information for the commissioners, that Eagle Pass or Maverick County has submitted their resolution as Eagle Pass is wanting to obviously sever the districts. So Eagle Pass has submitted their resolution to Austin. Currently, as you can see, the contribution per county for the district attorney's office currently, Dimmit County provides $210,000 to the district attorney's office. Zavala County provides $210,000. These numbers, as I have it on here noted, I met with Mr. Pereira. Currently, the SB 2022, or SB 22, excuse me, given the population between both Dimmit and Zavala, would put the district attorney's office at receiving $175,000 from the comptroller's office. Currently, the district attorney's office receives approximately $200,000 for the OLS. BPU, Mr. Pereira advised me on a minimum, which is the Border Prosecution Unit grant that is currently, or has been there, I guess for the past 10 years plus, that the district attorney's office gets as a district attorney grant. Mr. Pereira advised me that $500,000 would probably be the minimum. Currently, the district attorney's office on the BPU grant receives $809,995. which would put a total of $1,295,000 as the starting amount that would be in funds if it were to be kept the way it is currently. So it would be $1,295,000. The state of Texas gives the DA's office money to run for office expenditures at $22,500 and also $1,044. So a total that's currently right now in the pot for the district attorney's office, this is solely from Dimmit and Zavala, is $1,318,544. Mr. Pereira did advise me in regards to, I know there was a question in regards to where to house them, and Mr. Pereira advised the usage of the current auditor's office. As mentioned, the district attorney's office currently does have that BPU grant. With that BPU grant, they've inherited or they've purchased vehicles, 2 vehicles that they have right now. I did speak with Mr. Pereira and the district attorney's office about your questions regarding inheriting any of the equipment, and anything that would come with the BPU under the 293rd would come with the BPU to Dimmit County and Zavala County. The district attorney obviously is paid by the state. If there was an assistant district attorney, $120,000 is the amount Mr. Pereira suggested. A BPU prosecutor, which is a prosecutor that's under the grant, is grant funded at $120,000. 2 administrative assistants at approximately $35,000 per person. 2 investigators. Currently, the minimum current investigator at the DA's office gets paid $60,000. So that would be a total of $430,000, plus French would come out to $559,000. I put on.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. The 559, is that for just Dimmit County, or is that the whole office in total?
That would be the whole office in total.
So that would be split with Zavala County?
Yeah, if you go to the bottom on the approximate startup budget funds, that 1 million is a combination of Dimmit and Zavala. And then we subtracted the staff, what the utilities are based on the numbers currently, the other startup costs, the annual gas maintenance, the startup costs for equipment, if there's any equipment to need to be purchased, and then the yearly cost for office supplies, which subtracting all that, there would be a approximate remainder of $813,500 in funds.
Sure, Castaneda, can you come to the front, please?
I got a question.
Monday?
I have a question.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Castaneda, how do you feel about the splitting, if it does happen?
Mine, if it was to happen, it's just the way I feel is on the courts, if they're gonna move on the cases. I know some of them right now, we have a lot of cases with our DA. If they're gonna get prosecuted, or if they're gonna get accepted, or grand jury, but once they get in the custody, I mean, if they're indicted, how quick are the courts gonna move on the cases? That's my issue with it.
Because it'll be the same attorneys as we have right now.
That's correct.
And I know they're depending on these grants, the SB 22, LOS, and the BPU. The LOS is our LOS grant. We had it for the past 2 years. We bought equipment that has not been used. It's been stored in the police receipts. So my thing is, we're getting equipment and grants that we don't use, that are just sitting there. We can't depend on these grants. The way I see it, I cannot depend on the grant, because every year they change, the dollar amount change.
That's correct.
It's not always the same dollar amount. So, like I said last time that we were here, my hope, I'm not for this. And
On the OLS, I don't know how long we're still gonna have that.
The OLS, we don't know how long the OLS will last, but the SB 22, Commissioner, is not a grant. The SB 22 is funds that have been already appropriated by the governor's office or the comptroller. So those SB 22 doesn't change.
that's the only one that doesn't change.
And the BPU. The BPU one, That one will stay, it's just, the numbers may fluctuate on the BPU. The OLS is the only one, you're right, that may or may not be permanent. I guess it just depends on the,
Judge, Mayor?
go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, and I'll tell you about the OLS because I just saw on the news, I believe that Senator Roland Gutierrez is very opposed to it.
Mhm.
And he had several senators behind me on the OLS that they're not going to try to fund it anymore. Will it be successful or not? We don't know until the voting takes action. But that's one of my concerns of this grant. That who's going to concur those $200,000 if it doesn't pass? Exactly. And I'm not here for, I don't support this and putting it on the taxpayers to support a grant that's not going to be funded through the state. And this is a non-funded, from what I understand, this is a non-funded office. That is one of my concerns because seeing them already going against the OLS, no telling what else are they gonna go after that they don't want to pass. So it's gonna concur a bill to the county of Zavala, and I don't know if, and I'm not speaking for Zavala, but if they're financially stable to take care of that. And then who's gonna wind up eating most of the bill?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perea, how much are we currently contributing? I know I had the number last week. For which one? For the office?
It's right there, 210,000.
Oh, that's how much we are.
Yes, so that, the numbers, it says right there, contribution per county. So currently, Dimmit County is contributing 210, and Zavala County is contributing 210. So the numbers in the top would be the approximate startup budget or funds available. And again, the OLS is approximate, I put ballpark because we don't know if OLS will stay on there. Like I said, currently it's 200,000, but the numbers at the bottom are what I put, the subtractions are at the bottom.
And it's like I said before, you know, say, what is it, representative? He doesn't even represent Dimmit County, he's trying to make something for Dimmit County and Zavala to make that decision. And he's not representing to the board, our representative. Because he can come over here to speak to any of us to see what is really required. I feel that if he was that adamant about bringing this on, he would at least come and give some information to the county on the expense and everything else. Why make a decision for other counties and try to push a bill or whatever the decision is to the other counties? That's my concern. That's why I'm against it.
So initially, we're gonna be on the hook. I know that this is a startup cost for $659,272. If that's not even including like the SV, the OLS, and the VCU, just looking at in the chance that we don't get those or there's an error or something happens, is that how much?
So currently, the ones that are for sure, like I said, would be the Dimmit County for 210, because that's what we currently give them. Zavala County for 210, the SB 22, 175,000, and then the VPU, which Mr. Peda had said 500,000 minimum. Currently, the DA's office gets 809,000, but so the OLS is the only one that you could, I guess, if you would want to not include it in the total funds that we have, because I don't know if OLS is.
The BPU is right now 809, which is in favor of the population.
Yes, that's why we don't count the 800, we didn't count the 809,000. Mr. Pereira said 500,000. Did you have something, Commissioner Miranda?
I was just stating to Commissioner Carmona that I understand his concern, but in reality, this is proposed by Air Representative Morales, and he's holding that bill, and if it does go through, it's just something we're going to have to figure out a way to work around if it goes through, if it gets passed.
And as I said, Commissioner, we have a voice. I mean, we can be heard. It's not like we're giving it 100% approval if it does.
Yeah.
We have to act in behalf of our constituents. And I have a voice where I can say to my letter, or whatever it takes to tell them that I'm not in favor of this bill.
Yes, sir.
Now, if they don't listen to that, then
So, again, how much is Dimmit County gonna pay for the startup? If it's half,
The 210,000,
that's it.
that's the cost right now that we put in, yes.
And if we don't receive those 3 other grants, how much would it be then?
Well, the SB 22,
But let's just say, I like to
but I'm
shoot
saying
for,
that, that's what we're gonna get, because SB 22 is part of a bill. That's like a bill that has been passed, so it's law.
okay, so then including the SB then,
Mm-hmm.
not including the OLS for the BPA.
Uh-huh.
And this is just startup, right? Because then after the startup, it would come down,
Yes.
because then we would have to like repay for things.
Yeah, I got the numbers, like I said, from Mr. Pereira, like on there, the utilities, how much it would be, the gas, the office supplies yearly, those numbers are at the bottom.
Are you gonna stand by these numbers, Mr. Pereira?
Come again?
Are you gonna stand by these numbers?
You can't. There's no guarantee on the grants. In Senate,
Well, that's what I'm asking, that's why I keep saying.
in Senate Bill 22, even though it's awarded at 175, you have to get permission from Heather and Austin that handles the grant to split that money and how they're gonna divide it. Those questions have been asked. We just had a webinar last week on that, on Senate Bill 22. All the grant monies are not guaranteed to come over. We may get a portion of it. And it's just like the equipment. You know, the announcement was just the 2 trucks. Well, if he's the county or district attorney for the 293rd, we should get all the equipment, all the computers, all the vehicles that are marked 293rd, we should get it all. They should have an empty office over there and then fund their own office, and we get all the equipment to place in this office and the bill passes.
To me, I feel that they knew about this a long time ago, and they just threw it to us so we can approve of it, no questions asked, because nobody reached out to us, the numbers don't match, we don't have a backup. So no, they wanted to do this for them, not for us, not for our constituents, not for anybody else but themselves. Because like Mr. Carmona said, Mr. Morales, he's not our representative. He didn't come to us, he didn't come to ask. He didn't ask us how we feel about it, and we can afford it or we can't. Because if there's no funding, there's no grants, how are we gonna pay for it? And this is just a start. $210,000, that's what we give them right now. Because Maverick pays the rest, the majority of the portion. So what about the staff? What about the vehicles and all that? That's something that we have to pay.
Yes, I put it down there at the bottom for you, Commissioner, based on the numbers that
Based on the
Mr.
numbers, that's
Yeah.
$813,500.
Yes.
So that's what I said, take into consideration that there are some questions that don't have answers yet because they're not available yet. And I know that we're being proactive and we're trying to set ahead of the game. But can you give me the number that it's gonna cost, disregarding everything else, what is the amount and what are we on the hook for per year after the startup cost? That's what I wanna know. If we're paying 210 now, I wanna know how much are we gonna pay for the startup cost for the first year? How much is it that, because this isn't until 2029?
9.
No, it's September 1st, 2025, because they haven't changed it.
They also haven't changed the date.
Right, they haven't changed it.
So then we run into legal issues there because if we remove him, or if they remove him, wouldn't that kind of,
That's not up to,
Yeah.
that's the state.
Okay.
We have nothing to do
So then we
with
won't get like
that. No.
nothing
We
legally
didn't
to do
make-
that, okay?
No.
So, okay, so it's 2025, so how much is it gonna cost us to start up, not including the grants? So that way we know how much we're in the hook for. If we get this money, well then great, we can deduct it then, but how much are we looking at for the first year is what I wanted to know. And then if you can give me the number of how much it would take us to operate after that, I would be grateful for, but for right now, what are we in the hook for if we split it?
Manager,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
one thing that I don't know if we're all realizing is that if this was to be approved and it was to happen, we as Commissioners Court, we are the ones that establish each budget. Aside from what the state pays district attorney's office, we have the right to establish the budget accordingly. So, you know, none of these, going back to your question, and I'm with you, I would like to have answers, but there's really no real way to have an actual answer on it. First and foremost, it's not a design office yet. We don't know, you know, the amount of money the office is gonna receive from certain grants. So it's pretty much basically everything we're talking about, everything's ballpark figure. And we really have no choice but to go by a ballpark figure at this point. The point is, you know, is it gonna, my whole point on it, I'm not really, the money's there, if it does pass, we're gonna have to figure it out. But the point is this, is it gonna benefit Dimmit County? That's my question. And that's where I'd really like an answer, which it's also another speculation. We really don't know until it really happens. We don't know who the new district attorney is gonna be, who their staff is gonna be, how they're gonna perform. But it's really no control that we have. We're speculating. Everything we've talked about is strictly speculation. To me.
Well, I would be satisfied with the ballpark number, Judge. I just want to know what's the number for the startup, not including grants, how much Dimmit County would pay.
Like I said, currently, right now, we give $210,000. That's what we give. In regards to the startup costs in particular, like I mentioned to you, at the bottom, Mr. Pereira gave me the numbers of what the utilities would cost, which is $20,000. The annual for the gas maintenance is $7,500. The one-time equipment, if, again, we don't have equipment, which I believe it's the 293rd, it comes with everything.
So then we're looking at an increase, on top of our 210,000, we're looking at an increase of 500 for the first year, without the grants.
I don't know what the number would be, Commissioner, because it would have to be a number that we have to go with Zavala County. Like, it wouldn't be just Dimmit County funding this, because this resolution is to have Dimmit County and Zavala as the two counties in this judicial district. So, excuse me, so it's $420,000 currently what Dimmit and Zavala give. If we were to continue to give the amount, it's $420,000. That's without the OLS grant, that's without the BPU. The SB 22, that's based on population. And because the population between Dimmit County and Zavala County is approximately 18,000, close to 19,000, SB 22, we fall under the category of 175. Currently, the district attorney's office is getting way more than 175,000 because they have the population of Dimmit, Maverick, and Zavala, so it's bigger. So right now, SB 22 at the DA's office, they're getting more money than 175,000 because SB 22 is based on population. So under 10,000 population, you get a certain amount of money. From 10,000 to 30,000 population, you get a certain money, and that's where we fall. And that's the number that Mr. Pereira and I got from the comptroller's office directly for SB 22. So in total, you would have the 420,000 plus the 175,000 for SB 22. Of course, if you didn't want to include the OLS and the BPU, because they're not grants that are here permanently, then you wouldn't include those $700,000.
Sure. If we were to have a DA's office here, would it alleviate some of the financial strain that y'all hold in the sheriff's office if the cases would get prosecuted faster?
When ours would make a difference because it's how they're
Not
gonna
fine.
present the cases.
Yeah.
To the grand jury, and then if they get, have court for them, or if they get indicted or not,
Yeah.
we're still gonna go the same.
They're still gonna
I'm
do
just
it.
trying to find money where I can justify to see where we're gonna save somewhere since I'm not getting an accurate number. I'm just trying to look for money to
Yeah.
see if I would save some money somewhere.
The biggest advantage honestly is gonna be that instead of an office focusing on 3 counties, you're gonna have an office focusing on 2 smaller counties, which are within 15 miles from each other and not 45 miles away. And we sat here and talked about it, we looked at numbers, we looked at results. And we all understand that when you have a town like Eagle Pass or a county like Eagle Pass, Maverick County, the focus most definitely has to be on their larger location. And then their office out of Maverick County, I just don't see it happening. I don't see the time being spent in our rural community the way it probably should be. That's my opinion, and that's what I've gathered from what I've seen. So that's pretty much the only way I can see a positive on this is, well, one positive is that we'd have more focus on our cases, what we have going on in Dimmit County and what's going on in Zavala County, especially their house out of Dimmit County.
I know it'll be a smaller office because it'll be Zavala and Dimmit and not including Maverick, but it'll be the same with the attorneys because we have 4 or 5 that practice law here and we have 2 that practice law in Crystal, so it'll be the same. The number's not gonna change, the attorneys are gonna be the same, so the waiting period will be the same. They take our cases or they don't, it's still gonna be the same because nothing's gonna change, the attorneys are the same.
I don't understand your question. What do you mean that
The
attorney?
local attorneys that can do the prosecuting.
No, Commissioner, there's only, the prosecutor is different than the defense
Well,
lawyers. It's
Let's
different.
say, for instance, we use Mr. Ortiz, the attorney, or Mr. Ponce right now, when they go to court. Can they use anybody else other than those 5 that practice law from here?
Yeah. The way that it works is the prosecutor has to be from Dimmit or Zavala. All the other attorneys can be from San Antonio, from Houston. They can be.
The prosecutors are gonna have to be attorneys too, no?
Yes, ma'am. They have to be prosecutors. They have to be attorneys.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
it'll be the attorneys that I'm saying, like from Zavala or
Yes.
us.
No. So your district attorney can be, your district attorney has to be from Dimmit or Zavala. Your ADA could be from anywhere. It could be from anywhere. They can hire an attorney from Eagle Pass, they can hire an attorney from San Antonio. It can be from anywhere. The prosecutor, the actual district attorney that gets paid by the state of Texas, that one has to be from Dimmit or Zavala. But every other attorney can be from anywhere. It doesn't have to be one from here.
No more questions.
Yes, sir.
Being that if whatever route it takes, will Maverick County utilize our district attorney? Will they use them over there?
No, sir, because it would just be
Well,
for
I think the
Dimmit.
last explanation we heard was that they could use him up there in
No.
case they were short of a DA.
No, sir. They would have their own DA. They have their own DA.
Would we appoint a DA if it did happen in 2025 instead of 2029 that you said?
The governor of Texas appoints the district attorney. We don't appoint.
You don't apparently just the governor.
The governor appoints the district attorney, but if it happened, if they change the language currently from what it is right now to 2029, then it would be an election in 2029, in 2028. But currently, if it's the way that it is, then the governor's office is the one that appoints the district attorney. It comes from the governor's office.
To answer Mr. Carmona's question, I believe that our district attorney, if the bill passes, would still have to represent
Yes.
cases in the 365th and Dimmit County. So not only are we handling the cases in the 293rd, but also the 365th, the way the bill is started. So you're still going to have two.
You're still going to have 2 district judges.
You have to accommodate.
Yes. Both district judges will continue to be here.
But we
In
won't
Dimmit.
pay Maverick County anymore, right?
No.
No, but we still have to support both district courts. That doesn't change.
That doesn't change.
No, we have to provide for their staff, we have to provide for the personnel, any supplements, any travel for seminars and stuff. That doesn't change.
The way we have it now.
Previously, what they had proposed is creating a separate district with our own district judge and our district attorney. Now, what they're proposing is just the district attorney. But all conversations for the last 20 years is Davidsonville have their own district judge and their own district attorney, but that has changed.
Well, I still don't really like the uncertainty and the unclarity. I know that you did your best to try to get me some numbers, Judge. A motion to approve on the stipulation that I do know that it would enforce for Dimmit County to be better protected and better served. And I do want our cases to be done in a timely manner. So I will sign the proclamation.
I have a motion by Commissioner Talamantes. Is there a second?
No session.
Second by Commissioner Uranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition?
Aye.
I have 3 ayes and 2 opposed. Motion passes. 3.21, discussion and appropriate action to allow the GT organization to host their monthly meetings at the Arena Conference Room fee of one-time $50.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. Ortiz.
Thank you for listening to us. We are the Organization of Parents on District Education, nonprofit organization. It was established in 1996 to create a partnership between family, school, community, working together to continuously support and encourage gifted, talented students in our mission. So we have been using the arena, but we are asking now again that we do need your help. It's very hard for us to find a place to hold our meetings because parents get out at 5. So our meetings start at 6. And we have a hard time finding a place that we can use starting at 6 o'clock. And we do have a monthly meeting every first Monday of the month for 10 months. We do have 2 fundraisers. One is November, one is in April, which are bingos. And then we have, like in June, like this June, I'm going to ask also if we can also use at the convention center for our awards night. And we do award every single GT student, starting from first grade all the way to seniors. Seniors that are graduating, that qualify, will get scholarships. Now, if they work, depending on how much work they put in, we evaluate and do give out scholarships.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz.
The request is only for...
As of right now, I'm sorry, I'm looking for this school year, we do need to meet on May the 5th. And then our work nights would be June the 6th from 7 to 10 p.m., maybe less, but just to be sure.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused because I know that you're saying awards. You said that you wanted to use the arena for your award ceremony as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the way that the request is listed is at a one-time fee for your monthly meetings. So to request that arena for June 6th, and correct me if I'm wrong, she would need to come and request a different, to use arena for that day.
Correct.
If I may,
Go ahead.
the request is written that way, Commissioner, because in the discussion I had with Ms. Ortiz, the discussion that took place was in regards to me. I don't ever really discuss the ceremony or the bingo that's going to take place. We just discussed the meeting. That's why it's worded that way.
So are you suggesting, are you going to want to add the ceremony in there? Or are you going to wait to do a separate request?
Well, one of the things that I would like to explain to Ms. Ortiz is that in situations like this, I'm all for assisting an organization such as this in any shape or form. However, there's so many things going on at the Rotary Arena, which Jasmine is still here, I'm glad she's still here, that like these events, they would have to unfortunately be coordinated through Jasmine. So to first and foremost to make sure that the venue is available, Because we do have the public that goes in and requesting a certain date, and they will pay and contract out for a certain date. And so it's important that, you know, like I spoke to you and explained to you, that Jasmine be notified whenever you're gonna need to post if you know your meeting is gonna be, for example, the first Monday of every month, if you'll explain that to her, I'm sure she'll
Yes.
jot you down.
I met with her last week because what we do is we plan for the following year.
Mhm.
I said with her, I already planned the meetings for the school year of 2025, 2026. We went over the calendar and, you know, for the November bingo, we couldn't do the April because it's not yet in the calendar. But I do plan ahead because that way we will have a secure place to have our meetings, to have our fundraisers and all that.
So if I may ask, how many, more or less, how many people attend these meetings on an average?
We have about 40 GT kids right now.
But how many people actually
And
attend?
we have attendance about, maybe about 40.
40 individuals at one time?
Yes, yes.
So I don't know that that conference room actually would be sufficient enough for 40 people. I think that conference room holds like 20, 25, at the most 30 people.
Well, we usually meet at the big area.
Oh, but you have requested the conference room, right, Jasmine?
Yeah, she requested the conference room every first Monday of the month, right? Yeah.
I just,
But the conference room only holds 20 people max.
That's
but
why-
we've been holding it, not in the conference room, it's on the
And the
dance
arena.
area, the big one.
Oh, so that's not the conference. See,
It's
that-
not.
Those are things that need to be explained for the record, because if we don't word it properly,
Yes.
when the time comes, then we get into a disagreement as to what was actually approved through Commissioner's Court. So you're asking for one of the sections?
One of the sections, yes,
Oh.
one of the sections.
I'm fine with it regardless. I know that it could be a little confusing as well because I honestly, I forgot about the conference room to the side as well. So there is a conference room, just so you know, there's a conference room to the side along with other offices, and then there's the big main area.
There's three big meetings.
Yes, I don't have a problem with you using it, and I will motion for you to approve. But for any event that you're gonna be scheduling outside of your regular monthly meetings, it needs to come back to Commissioner's Court for approval. So like for your ceremony, you would need to come back and ask if you wanted the discounted rate, because it is a nonprofit. So you would come back and request for June 6th, for a nonprofit, and then we would set another fee for you for that. So the $50 fee would only cover your monthly meetings in the arena area.
And just to clarify, the commissioner, just real quick, Commissioner. And just to clarify in regards to what Commissioner Talamantes said in wanting to come before Commissioner's Court, the reason for that is if you're asking for a variance in a price, because I feel like then it'll open up a can of worms for everybody else because technically you have to have your 501c3 to be considered a nonprofit.
We
So,
do have one.
yes, ma'am, I know you do. And so what I'm saying is that we don't want to put on the record or give off the impression that we don't want to let you borrow it or that anybody can just get it for a discounted price. We want to make it clear that, because if you wanted to just rent it at the regular rate, you just have to go obviously to Jasmine. It shouldn't have to come before Commissioner's Court. That's the whole purpose why we have that process and why we have an events coordinator is to go directly to her instead of having to come to Commissioner's Court every single time. I think the purpose of having organizations come before Commissioner's Court is when they want a variance in the price. But if you're under a nonprofit organization and there's a certain cost for nonprofits and you're willing to pay that cost, then you just would directly go to Jasmine.
Judge, I'll take care of the fee for April, November, and June for your next, when you come back in June and in April, I'll take care of the cost. I'll take care of the cost for this month too.
For this school
For
year.
this,
Yes.
Well, I'll have her, no, the fee,
that's a one-time.
no, that's a one-time fee, Commissioner Talamantes, that she's asking to pay the one-time fee to use it for the whole year, for meetings. What Commissioner Luca was talking about is for the events. And so, in regards to the fee, because my distinct understanding is that the reason for this request is because you're being asked to pay every single time
Yes.
to use
No.
the arena?
No.
It has
Nothing
not,
has
it's
been
not yet been, it was for me to come here and discuss to see if they were gonna charge, if they're gonna charge me $25 for every meeting or $50, well, that's taken away like, almost $200, $400 from
From the
anything
kids.
time.
I
You
understand.
know, so if they're gonna charge me that much, I am going to see where I can find another
Somewhere else.
place that can work with us so that we can award that money to the students.
I understand.
What
Mr.
else do you
Gonzalez, can we waive, not waive, but I know we have to pay,
Mhm.
like we do the other buildings, $10, $15, instead of being the regular $50. This is for the kids.
Yeah, you all set the fees,
Yes.
whatever you decide and the decision you make it is.
So she's asking for us, so Commissioner Noguera motion to approve, Commissioner Noguera motion to approve the $50 one-time fee for the monthly meetings.
And for a one-time $50 fee.
For a one-time $50 fee, and Commissioner Talamontes seconded. And then for your other events, Ms. Ortiz, just go ahead and submit them to the office so that we can formally put them on here. But Commissioner Noguera has made notice that she is willing to incur those costs on the behalf of the GT.
And I thank you so very much. Thank you.
Before you submit it to the county judge's office, please coordinate with Jasmine
Okay,
to make sure that the dates you're looking at are actually available, so it would defeat the purpose of you putting it on Commissioner's Court if the date's not available.
yes.
Ms. Claudia, make sure it says one-time fee, one-time fee.
Can I just add that every Monday of the month I have the rodeo club already booked and they have a contract and they're paid. But I could put her in section 1. That one holds 100 people. They just won't come with the kitchen.
Oh, well, that's for the meetings, we don't need
Yeah,
to get.
I could put you in section 1. It holds 100 people. Anyway.
Jasmine, the Rotary Club, they meet at the conference room, right?
Yeah, well, they meet in section 3.
Section
The
three.
rodeo club was 7.
And how much is a rodeo club?
They have a one-time fee, $350 a year.
$350 a year.
That's for the rodeo club.
What, why are you meeting in section three?
Well, they used to meet in a conference room, but then I moved into section 3 because they had more than 20,
Really?
which was like the board members and all that.
But we can make room though, right? Like we're good to make room.
Yeah.
Well, this is why it's so important that, and I was explaining to Ms. Ortiz, that she coordinates with Jasmine to make sure we do not overlap and that it's available first. One of the main things, Ms. Ortiz, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's been happening a lot to us, is that things are being scheduled without Jasmine's consideration, and it puts her in a bind.
Yes, well, see, this past year I was not involved in
No, I
scheduling
understand.
that.
I'm talking about other.
It's happened to
other
me, Ms.
organizations.
Ortiz. I was one that it happened to this last time with an event, and we were all out of sort. But we're all learning, so no worries as far as that stands. But
Like in the previous years.
it is important, like Mr. Commissioner Hernandez said, it is important to get with Jasmine to make sure. But you're saying, Jasmine, that we can still make room even if she would meet on that day, right? So there's no issue.
Yeah, we can make it, as long as less than 100 people for
No.
section 1.
It's about 40.
Yeah.
Okay, in 40, it depends if the husband and wife go, it's a little bit more, but if it's only one, it's about 40 people that
Okay.
we have. And like I said, I always plan ahead and I met with you last week, to coordinate the dates and all that.
Also for the key, so you can enter, which this weekend, there was an issue.
Yes.
They needed
Okay,
to.
so that's gonna have to be another agenda request item if you would like a key to the arena.
No, no, she's not asking for a key. I'm saying,
Oh,
when she goes in and gets with Jasmine to request a date, then Jasmine will get her the key that she gives to whoever's gonna use it the day before, so they'll have one. But this weekend, they had a bingo, I believe, and I received text messages, Jasmine did too. I guess IT did. Joey finally ended up having to go open it because the key that Jasmine handed to Ms.
Did not
Ortiz
work.
did not work.
Did not work.
I guess it was disabled.
yes,
Yeah.
all the keys, remember, we'll touch base on that. I don't think that we have to keep Ms. Ortiz up here for that, but we will get it fixed for you.
So, do you come in to request January the 6th?
If you want to get
You
with
were-
Jasmine,
Okay.
If you want to get with Jasmine, and then we can bring those dates back up here. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.22, discussion and appropriate action to address concerns from constituents complaining that the community looking trashy and see no action taken.
Judge, I placed this item on the agenda. We've received numerous calls, and this is what, basically this is what our lead precinct one is starting to look like as of last week. I had a discussion this morning with the city manager and the mayor in regard to their meeting on Tuesday. And to be honest with you, nothing was resolved. The only thing that they did state to me was in the previous meeting, the joint meeting that we had, the agreement was to do a brush pickup six days out of the month. Out of the year, excuse me. Now they decided to go down to 3 times out of the year.
So separate from what we had
Yeah.
agreed to?
Yes. This is turning into a serious.
How are we supposed to know if they get, I mean, because that date was approved, so are they rescinding their motion that they motioned
Mhm.
and?
Pretty much. The suggestion was placed on last year's meeting. So, where,
Shouldn't have begun this, because we approved that motion as well.
yeah, it's just that I called this morning to get an update on it, but, she said that they are going to forward the change in the wording to try to get the interlocal agreement, which at this point, I don't know how that would benefit our community in any shape or form. If we're only, even the county can only pick up, it's supposed to be a joint effort, but it'll only be 3 times out of the year.
Commissioner Uranda was saying, if you can recall, at the joint meeting we had with the city when we had agreed on a pickup schedule, he's advised us now that the city had a meeting on Tuesday and they changed that schedule and no longer are going by the schedule that we had agreed to. So I was asking him if the city rescinded their motion that we had at the joint special meeting. And he said they didn't necessarily rescind it, they just voted on a new schedule without.
Rescinding.
Well, that was a suggestion. I'm not sure if the actual approval took place, but that was a suggestion to go down 3 times on. The other thing she did ask was, based on the last meeting that we had said that we could transport brush into the city network, but we would need a PO. So she wanted to know how come we haven't been doing it. I said, well, we haven't been doing it because it's not only the PO the issue. We don't have an active interlocal agreement. We cannot be picking up brush to the city limits.
It legally binds us not to move up machinery onto city property.
So the issue and the point now is the people have been calling and asking, upset, and they feel like nothing's happening on either end, obviously because they're not up to par as to what the process is really taking. But I mean, I feel like us as a court, we're gonna have to figure something out among us within the county, because I don't think we're getting, I think we're going backwards on this instead of forward.
I think I would agree with you on that.
What was that question?
I have done the same calls, and I advise my constituents that we've done our part for the most that I know. And I'm just waiting on the city to, I guess, meet again or approve whatever we had discussed. And I tell them, as for the time being, we're not able to actually be in the city limits. But best resolution is for them to contact the city and ask them where they're at with their request. Because I stated to them, we're doing the best we can, and people understand. And I'm not gonna turn it into a political issue or how they answer me back, but from them, it just says that it seems like one entity doesn't wanna work with the other. And that's where we're at. They don't blame us because they know that we've been there for them at all this time, but we tell them we can get nowhere because we're just waiting on them. And now you're bringing this concern up about, them changing it again, it throws us back to square one, where, I don't know, we might have to have another meeting with them. And I know they videotape it, but that's why Commissioner Rubalcaba always states, put it on the paper, put it on the paper. And I know it's hard, but hey, we're getting blamed for it, but they're not realizing that there's a governmental entity that's supposed to be taking care of them. And we're there just to assist. So once I explain that to my constituents, they understand the fact. And like I said, they know that we always been there for them, but right now we're at a standstill. That's the best explanation I can give, and they seem to understand it. So.
I as well still having this issue. If I've literally been on the phone with an individual that calls me, gets off the phone, calls the city, gets off the phone, calls me back, gets off the phone, calls the city back, gets off the phone, and it went 3 or 4 times before I asked what was it that needed to be picked up. It was something that I could go pick up with my hands, so I just went and picked it up with my hands. But it definitely needs to be resolved, and we need to come to an agreement on this. I feel that every commissioner's pain when we hit this topic, because it's not fun sitting there having to listen to somebody voice that they're needing assistance and they're needing help, and most of the time, and the majority of the time, we're not getting calls from individuals that are body able to do it themselves to pick it up and go. Most of the times we're receiving calls from constituents that are 80, 85, just got out of the hospital, I can't do it, I need help, and then they also wait on the fear of, well, the city's gonna find me, the city's gonna find me, the city's gonna find me. So, I mean, these are people that are living on fixed incomes, and it's posing a bigger threat that I think that the city realizes as well. And I would love to reach out again, and maybe as Commissioner Rubalcaba mentioned one time, putting it in the papers so that way we can express exactly that we understand the severity of the situation, but like Mr. Carbona just said, our hands are tied and we're at a standstill, and we've been at a standstill for some time now. And I know that it's getting more difficult, so maybe reaching back out, putting an item in the paper, whatever we can do, as Mr. Uranda said, as a court together to make some progress in the right direction.
Because I don't think we can use, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Uranda, did you want any action taken, or you just?
Well, I brought it up, I put it on the agenda so that we could have a discussion and see if maybe it could come up. I mean, honestly, Judge, I feel like as a county, we have a lot more ways of taking care of these issues. Financially, equipment, I mean, there's all kinds of things that we should be able to take action on. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel terrible just sitting here and waiting for the city to make a decision on something that I feel we should be able to take action within ourselves. I don't like leaning on an entity to be able to move forward with things that we have somewhat responsibility for within our community.
What's the holdup on the local agreement?
The holdup on the local agreement, Commissioner, based on the conversation I had this morning, was one, agreeing to how often we can pick up brush. Number two, the verbiage, the wording on the contract itself. There's a certain amount the city claims that they do not owe to the county, and it has even nothing to do with the maintenance and road and brush contract. It's more with the law enforcement. But because of that, they're not approving our contract, our interlocal agreement.
Between the government entities regarding the, procedure that we go about using the heavy equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So the number, because they're saying that they paid a certain number already, and they want that number redacted from the interlocal agreement. And then at the last meeting we had with them, they were gonna change verbiage. Remember, as you can recall, they had verbiage on it that they were going to remove because they were trying to say something about the tipping fees, and specifically the precinct 1, right, because they were the higher tipping fees.
So, we were trying to negotiate that amount, and they were gonna fix that on the MOU, and I don't know if it has or not. And as Commissioner Urenda just mentioned right now, that's news to me. I don't know about Commissioner Talamantes and Carmona, because they were there, but I didn't know that they had suggested, as he said, to change it, because when we were there, the agreement that they motioned and that we motioned, because we had a parallel agenda. So when they did their motion, then we did our motion, we motioned for a certain amount of times that we would do brush pickup. But if now they're having a meeting, as Commissioner Urenda said, and they're suggesting, he doesn't know for sure if they went ahead and voted on it, but if they did vote on it, or they're thinking about voting it, it's completely different than the motion that we agreed to on the record. So then that changes now the new language on an MOU.
I do recall, because the issue was on the tipping fees was, remember that they wanted for us to basically pick up brush, when they wanted us to pick up brush within the city limit of Carrizo. They didn't want to charge us for the brush and debris that we were picking up in the city limits of Carrizo, but they wanted for us that anything was picked out to also pick up on their schedule, but we would have to incur those costs that it would cost, which would violate the contract for the mutual agreement, because then the county isn't benefiting anything in that situation. So I do remember us making that clear that they couldn't charge us.
Because essentially they were trying to say, Commissioner Rucava, that they are losing money.
Yes.
It's essentially what they were saying is that they are losing money because Commissioner Precinct 1 is the one that's taking the most tonnage of stuff there. But if you look at it on the grand scheme of things, Precinct 1 is only within the city of Carrizo Springs. So essentially, Commissioner Urenda is doing a favor in beautifying and cleaning up the streets within the city of Carrizo Springs, because his precinct is the only precinct that is within the city limits for the 95% of his map area. So when we said that to them, they're like, okay, well, county's actually benefiting them, because they were trying to say like, well, y'all need to pay us because we're losing money trying to.
So to them, it's a money-making machine.
That's all.
That's
it is.
exactly what it is.
It's not about the
That's all
people.
it is.
it's not
And
about-
that's exactly what it was.
That's why I've been saying, we need to put this in the paper, because they don't know that. When they call us, they say, ustedes no quieren levantar, yo los voté a ustedes y no hacen nada por mí. That's not the case. We're here for the community, we're here for the people. But they're putting those words into their mind, thinking that it's us when they call.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, Commissioner Rucava, to be quite frank with you, in looking at the law, and when we sat down with Mr. Franklin, we're here just to be of assistance. Because honestly, if Commissioner Urenda says, you know what, I'm not gonna do trash pickup for Precinct 1, because I'm not obligated, because it's within the city of Korea. We're here to assist them with the service. We're here to help them. And right now, the whole, like I said, the MOU, as it stands, it should have been the way that we agreed that day at the special meetings.
So as I recall also, they gave us 50 tons of each to dispose of. They gave us 50 tons, anything after that, then we would have to use tipping fees.
You're correct.
And going back on the thing, there's already videos on YouTube looking at Carrizo Springs on the roads. I just saw one frequently not too long ago, the streets of Carrizo. And again, like I explained it, and no other way to get it out is just let them know. Everybody's got social media, someone can get the newspaper, and it's like Commissioner Talamantes says, these are elderlies that are asking for help.
Well, I think
Not the, and the first thing they worry about is if I throw a branch outside the fence, here comes the marshals. The marshals are patrolling every corner there is, and I get a ticket. But
I think that was the biggest
I
concern.
think for me, on that placement is, get the money out of these elderlies and let's pay, because at the time is, I don't want to sound bad, but when there's something going on, someone takes, and I'll probably step out of my boundaries, but somebody wants to get re-elected, they're doing everything they can, but once they get elected, it's like, let's forget about my community. Let's start giving tickets. I heard that before. and we're not that type. We're there to assist them.
When I think that was the biggest concern and issue that was brought up as well, Commissioner Noguera, at the meeting, was that there's the trash, as you saw the pictures, and some of these residents are elderly, or not necessarily elderly, but perhaps on a fixed income, and then they get cited for that trash pickup or lack of trash pickup because no one's picking it up. And so I think for the most part, the four of us that were there, we want to prevent that from happening because I don't want to see my grandma get picked up. I mean, I'm sure you have family members, Commissioner Rubalcaba, within the city, and we know they're on fixed incomes, or we know that they can't physically, exactly, they can't do it themselves to take it, or they don't have the equipment, they don't have a trailer to go haul over there. So that was the biggest concern, and I thought that when we had that special meeting, it was resolved until Commissioner Uranda brought it up right now, so obviously.
We need to make sure on it. I mean, we need to call the city manager, and make sure on it, Mr. Gonzalez, if it's been approved, or what's waiting, or what's gonna happen. The meeting was done, we were all in the assumption it was already approved, we were moving forward, apparently we're not. We don't know the facts yet.
Right.
Mr. Gonzalez, do you have a copy of that interlocal agreement?
No.
Okay,
We don't-
I've
we
never
will
used
try
to
to
get
get
a copy.
I will try to get you a copy so you can look it over.
But that's not even we don't have the interlocal agreement because they changed it.
They changed it.
And they haven't sent a copy, as far as I'm concerned. Have they sent it to you, Commissioner Uranda? Because remember, they changed it the day we had the meeting to add that verbiage, and their attorney was going to get with the city manager to put all that language together and send it to us. And as
Well, do you have a copy of the minutes?
we have Ms. McDaniel's minutes.
Because I was gonna also say to keep in mind that the city could not tell us if this was a financial problem or this was a burden problem, because they gave us tonnage of which they felt that we were exceeding because they couldn't handle it, and then they also gave us price points. So they weren't really able to tell us, and then they wanted us not to do it for anybody in the county, they only wanted us to do it for the city. So they couldn't really tell us, and I think that that's important because I feel like that point right there shows that this isn't even about the brush pickup, that they're using it as leverage for other things that they want in other agreements. Because it should just be black and white for brush pickup, honestly.
Yes, just going back in the past when there's been, a special occasion where we had to help an elderly, it was concerning their public health, their safety, and there was a public purpose and help them remove the debris. We've done that, so you just need to put it on the agenda and we'll vote on those individually. Another thing that's happening, they had this last pickup, the city had the last brush pickup right after or right about when that big windstorm came through. All right, and I know this, it knocked down a tree in my neighbor's house, it knocked down my electricity. AEP comes out, they trim branches themselves and they leave them there and you have to pull them out yourself. So some of these elder people can't pull out the branches, and then they complain about the right-of-ways and, that you're not maintaining them. Well, it's not my right-of-way, I maintain mine though. And they still complain that they can't get in their trucks to hit the power lines and fix them for you, and they threaten to leave you without electricity. So if it's happening to me, it's happening to other people in our community. If the city wants everything clean, they need to go clean their easements so that AEP can fix electrical problems when we have the problems, or open up easements. Because some of them are gated up and they're all trashed up and they don't even maintain those. About 10, 15 years, they moved all the meters, water meters and gas meters from the easements to the front of the streets. So they don't go back and look at those alleys, city alleys and easements for AEP or city easements anymore. They don't maintain them. But I know that this last time, the neighbors, they got lucky because it so happened the day that they were picking up brush was the day that they had hired somebody to cut the big tree down, and they made about 5 loads that I know just that day, because I had to take the day off and go and address my electrical problems as well. So it is a problem, and I know Commissioner Carmona sent me a picture about a lady down on 12th Street or so forth. The tree fell partly in the street and the rest in her house. Well, they came and picked up the brush in the street and trimmed it up to her fence and left her holding the bag. You know, so, I did advise at that time, put it on the agenda to see if we can help her. And she says she has nobody. I know she has 2 sons. I think they came down and one of her nephews called me. I said, well, if you need some help, I'll go help you. You know, I take my chainsaw, we'll go fix it. He goes, no, we're taking care of it. So, but, you know, they'll just clean the right way of the street where the brush or the trees that fall down on the street. They leave the rest for that's in the city or in the neighborhood property for the citizens. I won't even help them with that. And the fences are down and everything else. And yeah, it's a concern in the safety.
That's heartbreaking.
So, you know, if in the future, if there's an emergency, put it on the agenda and take it by case basis and see if we can assist you.
And I was about to ask you for clarification on that. So if I have an area that is posing a safety, you said? Safety concern, that I can bring it per?
Now you get into another issue where we should be having our code enforcement go out there and get TCQ involved. We've got a big issue in Ashton that we can't get resolved. The TCQ already has a judgment against them, and nothing's being done there as well. What's happening, and what happened once in Big Wells, the old Little League field, they made that into a brush dumping ground at one time, and TCQ had to come in, and we had to help them clean that mess up so that they'd be in compliance, because that's an illegal dump site. So that's what the city is basically creating by not coming to an agreement with the county, is this illegal dump sites in the county. Just on Valley Street, somebody just threw 2 tires down there because they didn't want to go dump them or they're going to get charged. So has the city picked them up? No. They're waiting for the county. I guess they have their local agreements, so the county can pick them up and dispose of them and get charged tipping fees.
Commissioner, where are we on for being able to pick up brush and take it to our landfill?
The brush, we can take the brush, but we have to mulch it.
Already, but I can do that.
It has to be mulched, we can't take regular brush in there.
And if
And
I want,
then we have to work on doing a pit, getting a TCQ to do the pit for brush, because we can't just do it ourselves.
okay, and Mr. Gonzalez, you said that as long as I get Commissioner's Court approval, I can pick up even if it's within the city limits.
Said if there was an emergency, health and safety.
Health and safety
And there's a
emergency.
public purpose to help those people because they have no other assistance. We're talking about elderly. We start opening the door for everyone, and then it's a big can of worms.
That, you're right, it just opens a whole brand new can of worms, because then at that point, you're gonna have people calling you left and right every single
Yeah,
day.
you did it for so-and-so.
Exactly.
Why can't you do it for me?
That's why you don't
The
want
last
to.
situation was in Creasville Hill, elderly couple, guys,
And also you
on a
run into
walker.
whether it really is a.
Electricity's down, they would not come in because they had to remove the debris before AP would come in and reconnect their electricity. They couldn't move. They couldn't move, but we had to go out there with chainsaws, remove a building that was torn down, just so that AP would come in there and connect their electricity. I can understand those situations as a public purpose and as a health and safety issue and that one was strictly in the county.
On the side of the pictures, that really
Yeah.
suffice as an emergency.
No.
So on the take action then for Mr. Nanda, we're
Not taking any action, I asked him, it's just, really, we have,
Public information.
yeah, it's more of a public information. I mean, because there really isn't any action for us to take at this point.
There's no number.
Exactly. I mean, we can put it on the
With
paper.
the pictures, just to say that Commissioner's Court addressed the problems, that way the people know that we are talking about it and he brought it up.
We're attempting to address the problems
Attempting.
and working with the city.
We'll bring Mr. Gonzalez with us when we go to the meeting.
It's just such a shame that for years, you know, the city and the county, for the most part, have worked together. And just,
Well, I think even, no, I don't want to get into that, okay. Yeah, we won't get into that. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Thank you, no action. Thank you, Commissioner Carmona, for kicking me under the... 3.23, discussion and appropriate action to allow senior class of 2025 to host senior breakfast at the Dimmit County Conference Center on May 23rd, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a fee of $50.
Motion.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Talamantes. Second by who? By Commissioner Uranda. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.24, discussion and appropriate action, approval to give Jacob Rodriguez an additional $2 for his customer service inspector license required by TCEQ.
What the reason for this item to be on the agenda is, Mr. Rodriguez went and obtained his test and passed his test for this specific license.
Would this require a budget amendment? Amendments?
Because it wasn't budgeted, we never budgeted for his increase. So when we requested, because based on the policy, when an employee obtains a separate license that it pertains to his job description, he's entitled to an increase. Well, the increase was not budgeted in the,
Do you have a copy of the policy so I can review it?
no, I don't have it. I just read it and left it on the desk. But I think we all,
What does he do?
You want to table?
What does he do?
Huh?
What does he do?
we work for utilities on the water department.
Okay, and this is gonna be used for this job?
Yeah,
She.
or the water.
Man,
Yes, hold on, Commissioner, go ahead.
Mr. Uranda, do you recall back when once it was here, I know we had made a motion on it was Mr. Gary, whenever we got the licenses, it was a dollar amount. But I don't recall if it was for every licenses that they get, or it was just a $2 and that was it. Just a one-time stipend, like a $2. I'm trying to recall that. I don't.
In my understanding, you're probably right, Commissioner, it's something that there are different ways of interpreting, but my understanding is for one specific license, you know, you do you can get an increase, but in their department, they have different licenses that they have to obtain, and there's a series of tests that they have to take just to obtain the license. And then for their fluorination, the water testing, but where I'm getting to with this is the way I read it in the policy, which unfortunately I don't have a copy of it, but have you looked at that, Oscar, by any chance?
Has this individual, before Oscar speaks, has this individual ever received an increase already for certifications?
No.
How many times?
No, I don't think for certification,
Well-
the code has.
Well, once, no.
He's
Regarding the policy, the only licensing in the policy is for the CDL drivers. What you're talking about with Mr. Iturben and the other, that was for a water licensing, and it was in the minutes from a while before I got there for sure. But it was just a one-time deal that if you get your water license, you get the extra $2, and that applied for the utility department. So this employee has that one, plus the his CDL B, I believe. So he has Class B.
So that's why it wasn't budgeted as far as the way I understood it, because it was just a one-time fee regardless of how many licenses he gets. So essentially, like if he would get like 5 different licenses, and it would be like every time he gets a license, he gets $2 and $2 and $2. That's the way I understood it. It was a one-time fee. Go ahead.
and also that happened to one of the departments here. They went and got, the same person went and got a higher certification, and it wasn't approved back then because Mr. Pereira had mentioned that time that it was within that same department.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get that increase unless it was a different license. Like if she had moved to another department and then we had to change something else. But that's what it's been.
We'll look at that policy, Mr. Ortiz, because honestly, if you sit on the other end of the situation, I would figure that if an employee, it's one way, it's an encouragement, just like getting somebody to get their CDL, because I get paid more. But the self-worth as an employee that's certified in 3 different categories versus one that's certified in one, under the employment sessions that we're at, you know, this person has a better chance of going and probably getting paid more money, which I don't want to get into that.
Right.
You know, but I figured because it's a different license, he would qualify to get an increase, you know, he went and passed the test that I guess others haven't.
Right. I mean, I personally, I have nothing against him getting that $2, but what I wanted to caution with is just it needs to go through Commissioner's Court to be part of the budget. Because, I mean, the water licensing is already part of the budget, the CDL is part of the budget. I know it was just recently took effect, the tax office got a little bit more money for their licensing. So we do have record of, you know, rewarding employees for complete something.
But they're all just one time.
As of right now, yes. For example, the CDL is just the one, it's an additional on top. The water license is additional on top. The tax office is one-time additional on top. There's nothing in writing say that every time I go to get a certificate, I get something.
Okay.
There is just that, historically speaking, Commissioner's Court, they would bring it to their attention and it would get approved that way.
Believe me, Commissioner, we all want to do what's best for our employees, but we have policies we gotta follow, and we want them to get the best there is, but if we don't follow those policies, then we're opening a can for everybody to come in and ask for whatever they want them to deserve.
We paid for him to take this training to get the certification?
Excuse me?
Did we pay for him to take this training to get the
Yeah.
certification? Then I think I would agree with them as well, one time, since we're.
I'm good with it. I just, in the discussion with him, I told him I would put it to Commissioner's Court. We have everybody's opinion and we go from there. Thank you.
Yes. So motion to not approve.
No,
No
action.
action.
3.25, discussion and appropriate action approval to allocate $4,250 for storage at the CSA Nutrition Center.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rubalcaba, second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.26, discussion and appropriate action, setting time for golf course 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. due to daylight savings time and summer days approaching.
So motion. Both of us. I don't matter who.
Motion by Commissioner Talamantes, second by Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 3.27, discussion and appropriate action, agreement to host annual Easter egg hunt at the golf course open to the community Saturday, April 19th from 11 to 2.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Talamantes, second by Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Discussion and appropriate action, approval to purchase med rescue transport UTV.
Just 28.
Aye, thank you, Commissioner. I apologize. Monday?
Someone's paying attention, Commissioner.
You weren't even right. She wasn't even paying attention to her own. 3.28, discussion and appropriate action, approval of key card contract precinct 3.
Okay, guys, so this was added on the informational as well. So as we were speaking earlier, how they were saying that one of the key cards wasn't working. So what we did is we cleaned up the ID department. So no one should have a card that is not registered directly to them. There is a few things, and if you can look, I think they put the contract up on top that we were requesting to add in for a policy. The reason that it had to be a policy addendum, did I said that correctly? I'm sorry, I'm trying to look for it as well. It's because one of the things that we will be doing is if you lose your key card, it's on page 17 on the USB. Okay, so if you lose your key card, there will be a fee set for $25. Avery and Hobby have done a good job at going to all the departments to make sure that we have documentation to keep track of the key cards for reasons of termination, loss. there is things on there that, key cards are to be returned upon resignation, termination, or upon request. So you cannot duplicate the card, obviously. If your card is reported lost, notify IT immediately. Also, don't try to access areas that you're not approved for. Each key card, we're able to restrict that as well. Verbal warning, so first time violations, verbal warning, temporary suspension of an access card, the fee if you lose it for $25. Any reprimands or disciplinary actions or loss of employment would be up to department heads. And then in case of trespassing or data breach or damages, the sheriff's office will investigate for filing charges. I do know, like on the weekend, there is something on there as no tailgating. I do know that everybody in the county does not have a card. So the no tailgating is more specific for the weekends. So we want to know who's in county buildings, especially on weekends. So that rule would be enforced mainly for non-working hours. If anybody has any questions or would like me to clarify on anything on the contract, please let me know. And so Hobby.
You can use mine.
And
You can look at mine.
Hobby and Avery will be conducting the forms this afternoon or this week sometime. And this is just to protect the county. This is just so we have documentation, there's no duplicates out there. It was a little bit of a mess when we started it up, but yeah, guys did a good job in cleaning it up and making sure that everything was labeled correctly. And it would be fine, as long as they're accessing the door with their own key card, and it's just to keep track as well, like, we don't want, I don't want to go extreme, but we don't want something to happen and then not know who was in the building.
Yeah, what about the staff at the old courthouse? They don't have key cards, but in case they have to use something over here.
So if they can get in on the weekend, I mean, if they can get in through normal.
Well, no, I'm asking if they can be issued a card.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're over there at the old courthouse, but in case they need to come over here, don't call somebody to come and help them. I think the employees should be issued a card
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
first time and then go from there.
No, absolutely. If you are a county employee, then you have.
Same as
Right.
auditors and treasurers.
Yes.
They don't have cards.
The only time I see that I would need a key to come over here is that if I'm having a trial and I want to set up during the weekend for the Monday morning trial. But, you know, I can, that time request a special key for that purpose, so there won't be one floating around.
Yes, and
We have
also
trials
too,
on Tuesday.
yeah, also too, what they can do as well is you
That's
can
what he said.
call them and they can open up the doors for you. But if I would highly suggest you just checking out a key card.
The other thing is, I think this should be a big part of the county policy. I just talked to the auditor and.
Yeah, that's what we have it on, listed on the item. It's gonna be added to the policy. But yes, Mr. Carona, to answer your
So,
question, any
so
county
your
employee
motion would be,
can get one.
your motion that you're asking is approval of this specific contract and also to incorporate it into county policy?
Yes, and the fee, because I believe that the fee was the reason, Mr. Gonzalez helped me out with that, the fee was the reason why it needed to be approved by Commissioners Court, and I think that was the highlighted area that you suggested.
Yeah, you can't unilaterally set the fee. It's got to be up to the commissioner's court. And it's just like the termination portion, you mentioned that.
It has to be on the,
The department.
yeah, I
Yes.
went over that already.
But and there's an area, there's an area for you at the bottom where it says department manager approval, would be the elected officials that would be approving for their employees to have it. So then it protects you as well if you're having issues with an employee, that is to your discretion if you want to as well. So it's just a contract to protect us all around. So yes, my motion is to approve and to add it to the policy.
If you don't want the card, you don't have to get the cards, correct?
No, but you won't have access after hours.
Or how many to come and open?
Correct. No, you're good. You're good.
Questions?
that's why I wanted to talk to you, so we can look at it and see.
So you want to table?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna make a motion to table at this point, and the reason for it is because I think it's something we really need to look. I agree with Commissioner Talamantes, and I appreciate her taking the initiative, and as well as you two young men, in cleaning this up, because there were a lot of keys out there that we didn't know who had what, and at times people were coming into buildings that had no reason or business to be coming into buildings. But we just need to, I think, for safety purposes, really probably coordinate with the sheriff and our fire department
And emergency management.
emergency management to make sure that whoever needs to have a key. And I will say this, I appreciate calling you and if you can open the door, but to me, personally, I feel that that's just something that we should try to avoid. Whoever needs a key needs to get a key, and unless it's somebody that just temporarily needs to come into the building, if they can notify you ahead of time, that's perfect. But
So what would you like me, just so I can put that on my notes, what would you like me to verify with?
where I would suggest is to start with emergency management and get with them, because the worst case scenario, something happens here during the weekend and the person that really needs to have a key, or let's say he has a key, but it's been deactivated.
All the cards are deactivated, just to be transparent. All cards that are not registered to and turned into the IT department, all those cards are deactivated.
See that, personally, I would have brought that up first before deactivating, because what if we deactivated somebody who is on the emergency end?
Well,
They don't have keys right now, but you have a good suggestion. All the emergency, including our security, they have them, but the sheriff, the county fire department, and including the city, they should be offered a key too, because if for some reason the county can't respond to a fire here at one of this building, then the city's gonna have to either break the door down if they don't have.
but that's not, because I'm just trying to understand how it is, because Monday through Friday, these buildings are open, they're automatically open and they stay open. Sorry, yeah, on weekends, so you're talking about on weekends also, all due respect, key card requests would come after this. I do know that you're saying, Commissioner, that I should have run it through court first to disactivate the cards, and I took the initiative, and I'll take responsibility for that. I know that me and you had conversations because you had employees that, I mean, not employees, you had people that weren't employees that had key cards and access to areas, and I know that we touched base on that before I disactivated the card, and I gave that opportunity of that individual to come
But
in.
this has nothing to do with it.
Okay,
It's
but-
so what I'm bringing up is strictly emergencies. It's nothing to
Yes.
do with the people you and I discussed.
So,
What I'm saying is, and I explained this to you when we had our conversation, before I would take any type of action, I would bring it into Commissioner's Court for transparency and to make sure everybody's aware of what we're trying to, and I give you all the heads up, I mean, I give you I applaud you for trying to clean it up, which I think you've done a great job.
I appreciate it.
However, in essence of protecting everyone and making sure we're all doing the right thing, that's why we discuss it first, then act later.
See that, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you as well, is that this contract is just the first step, because if the sheriff's office needed, if we decided that we were gonna do this and the sheriff said, you know what, hey, now that you put that contract into place, I need 3 more key cards for these individuals. It would be as simple as you going to the IT department, asking for the key cards because you are a department head, and then getting the contracts, releasing them, they'll be listed to their name, and then taking the contracts back to the IT department. So there's no stopping of authorizing any more users for key cards. This contract is just the first step, so that way we make sure we have it in documentation and we have something in writing, rather than the sheriff saying, you know what, before we do the contract, I need 5 more, and you're still gonna have to sign the contract afterwards. So there's no, just to be clear, there is no restricting any other access to more cards. We can always order more cards and get more cards. I think that approving the contract is just for the amount and for the disciplinary action of termination of employment. If you still want to table it, I will respect that. Just let me know exactly what it is that you'd like me to do, so that way I can get that done for you next meeting, Commissioner.
I think
Mr. Gonzalez reviewed your contract, right?
Yes, Mr. Gonzalez.
Why are we tabling?
I still have my motion.
But the only thing I would add to this, but I'm clarifying with the sheriff, is that he has the keys that he needs in case there's a fire or an active shooter situation.
And he does.
So that's what I want to make sure that law enforcement is protected, they have access to the building, and whether it's a weekend or during the week, if they have to come into a side door or whatever, they need the keys so that they can come and do their job.
And I do think that the sheriff
think-
has it.
Commissioner, I think we should table this item, so we can all look at the contract, and we can give you our input, and then you can put it on the next agenda.
So I have a motion to table by Commissioner Urenda and a second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Her motion was to approve.
Yeah, my motion was to approve and to add it to the policy. And like I did say, Mr. Gonzalez did review my contract.
Yeah, you would have to vote on the first motion, and you have to fail and then vote on the motion to table it, if that's the case.
Can we approve it and then do an addendum to add that? Because I feel like that's added, I understand where you're coming from and I get where you're coming from in that scenario, Judge. I just think that it's gonna open up a whole other can of worms, and this policy is never gonna make it through if we take on that.
I don't think it's that hard, ma'am, to adhere to a policy. They're just questions that can be addressed before the next commissioner's court.
No, Mr. Carmona, with all due respect, what she was asking me
Oh.
was to table it because she felt that we needed to add something in there for non-employees to have access to the building. And I said that if we get into that,
Because this contract only covers employees. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, remember,
Exactly.
You're gonna add to it, we can.
okay.
Commissioner, the reason why I'm saying that because firemen are not considered employees.
The fire chief is appointed, the fire marshal is appointed by that commission's court, so
But
they
there
sign the contract.
It's not in the contract,
But,
exactly.
and then the firemen are, if we're not there, who's gonna open up?
Well, the sheriff,
No, I understand, but being that you have three captains,
just by, I guess, rule of order, I think their motion, Mrs. Talamante's motion is first. She needs to withdraw the motion and vote on the motion to table it when she withdraws the motion. Or you vote on her motion first and then vote on the motion.
I'm not gonna withdraw my motion, but I will add the stipulation of correction to make sure that, the fire chief.
Well, I mean, the way that I had, because your motion, your agenda item just says approval of key card contract. Are you asking further to be implemented into the policy, or you just want the contract to be approved right now?
To implement into the policy, and as well, I have the agenda request form. I know that this was added on later on, but on the agenda request form that I had was to add to the policy and to approve the contract through Commissioner's Court. I do know that we had some issues with my agenda item not making it to the first,
This one right here, the IT has conducted the information key card?
I can't grab my phone,
Oh,
but I
okay.
have the copy of the, what my secretary sent the first time.
Okay. Tell me,
Yeah, that, there was a second one. There was a second one on that one that, not anymore to be found, but I have the second of it. Well, motion dies because I didn't get a second, right?
so I have a motion to table?
Well, no,
Yeah, I haven't, I'm asking what your motion was.
Mr. Carmona, you said that you wanted to add on for the fire, for the fire employees can have a key card as well?
they're not employees.
No, I'm saying, well, I don't know what he's saying, but what I'm saying is for us to incorporate on the contract the verbiage for non-employees.
So then can I add the stipulation of that on my motion?
I don't understand how you're gonna hold non-employees accountable.
That's true.
Yes. you can.
That's true.
I mean, the reason we're talking about non-employees, and we're, this is for transparency, it's because there's individuals, organizations, such as the youth rodeo organization, the livestock organization, that have an active contract At that point, they're given a key so that they can enter and have their meetings or whatever it is that they're holding, which was basically one of the reasons that they moved over there from the old building.
You would almost have to amend the policy to include a fee for a non-employee if they lose that key. It's like a public parking, when you lose your ticket, if you pay the lost ticket fee, and it's $50 when you only spend 30 minutes in the parking lot. Then you're less tricky.
And you can do it, you can include a fee for, if you hand, if I rent the arena and they hand me a key and I don't bring it back, well, actually, that's where they have a deposit.
Yes.
They have a deposit in place.
But you
I
have to
just-
clear up the policy and say that, there's gonna be
For the key.
of $50 whenever the key is lost.
Okay.
I just think that we have time right now to discuss it as well, if y'all want to go on to go through it line by line or read it a little bit more, but I do feel the importance to finish this because you have to think about it as well. I'm not trying to be difficult with y'all guys, but this is eating up some of my man hours on things that we could be working on, and we already distributed a first round of forms to get filled out, and and I will be honest with you, it really does bug me because I like to start things and finish things, and so it's keep holding me on completing this task that I have. And I want to feel accomplished at the end of the day and at the end of the month. So I will be willing to add the stipulation on my motion, but my motion still stands.
I have a motion by Commissioner Talamantes
Second.
and second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Four point one, discussion and appropriate action, the approval to purchase a Med Rescue Transport UTV 2025 Can-Am Defender XT by Board 703 from Far West Environmental Supply under the OLS grant FY 4375903.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any oppositions? Motion's carry. 4.2, approval to open inmate telephone bids.
My bid. From the council and we'll open just to see if it was for us or not, and then what it is.
I have Centex Centex Pay telephone, Centex Pay. It's Centex Pay, Commissioner Noguera. Centex CEN-TEX Pay telephone. And you can put it right here, Ms. McDonough, I'll get it. Thank you.
That's good, you're good.
And that one would be a monthly maintenance fee of $2,295.
2000.
$2,295 for monthly maintenance fee. And audio rate caps per minute, I have 12 cents. And video rate caps, new caps is 25 cents. The second bid is Prodigy Solutions, PRODIGY Solutions. audio rates for this one is 10 cents and video is at 20 cents per minute.
Does that one have a monthly?
I'm looking for a commissioner. It's a bid. I'm gonna open them. Maybe Commissioner O'Connor, your eyes might be better than mine. Let me see. I just see a proposal key that says no deposit or setup fees according to new FCC guidelines. No cost installation, on-site training, tech support. I don't necessarily see a monthly fee.
Only has the $50,000 cash up front.
That's a 60,000 cash up front bonus, 50,000 cash up front messaging bonus, meaning that
That's all
that they'll give us $50,000 worth of message, but I don't have anything else. So, thank you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on the record as per this bid that there indicates no monthly fee. Of course, we'll pass these over to our auditor and we will follow up on that. The next one I have is Synergy, SYNERGY Technology Services. This one also says there are no setup charges for the system and equipment to the county. The local, long distance, international, and mobile calls prepaid 9 cents for audio. The video is at 14 cents per minute. This is IC Solutions. Advanced Technology. Inmate calling is 12 cents per minute. And inmate calling international cost plus 12 cents per minute. And video is 25 cents per minute. And I don't see a cost. For a monthly fee. Can I have that one, Commissioner, please? You're okay. Yes, please. Can you give her those, please? This one is NCIC, Correctional Services. Oh, here it is, the rates. This one has calls within the United States at 9 cents per minute. Mexico and Canada, it's 35 cents a minute. To Cuba, it's 75 cents a minute. And all other international is at 35 cents a minute. Remote, it's at 14 cents per minute. That had an option 1. They also put in option 2, 21 cents per minute in the US. Mexico and Canada is 25 cents. 99 cents to Cuba. And 35 cents all other international. And remote video would be 30 cents. And this one has a live operator transaction fee at $5.95. $5.95. Here you go, Ms. McDaniel. And those were the 5 at this time. I am just asking for a motion to approve those, opening of those bids. Motion by Commissioner Noguera. Second. Second.
I did.
Second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. We do have another item, and that is a discussion approval to advertise 4 bids to remodel the dispatch at the Dimmit County Sheriff's Office. Is that with Montes? Or with you?
Me. Well, this one, Judge, it's the same deal. I need to do something by August because they gave us a deadline, Middle Rio Grande. They're installing new equipment. I don't have the space to install that new equipment, and I don't want to get left out. But right now, our dispatch radio is not working. We can't pay the EMS fire department only through the analog radio. It's not working too well that way also.
Okay. We just need to get a motion to approve so that he can advertise. We can get with Mr. Pereira. I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, second by Commissioner Talamantes. So we need to get it on the newspaper, Mr. Pereira. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay.
4.3 is the jail status report.
On the jail, ma'am, you're gonna be getting a letter probably next week from the jail commission. We did have inspection. It wasn't a comprehensive on-site. They requested information, we sent them. They did find one deficiency, which is gonna be on our record check with, we had a inmate, when we put him on the strap share. We went over the time, we're supposed to do it every 15 minutes, but there were some instances it went over the 15 minutes. It's something that they're gonna address and work on, but it's not a write-up. We're still basically gonna pass inspection.
It was just a finding.
Yes, it's just a finding, but the next budget, I want to try to work, change something, because we're doing everything written. I would like to change it and do it electronically, where if, say, the jailer doesn't do it within the 15 minutes, one of us will get a notification, and we can address that issue to prevent that.
Do you have your jail status report?
I'll submit it next Commissioner's Court because we were busy with the marshals and I was busy with the state patron, so I will submit it. I have the amount if you want to know.
I have a motion to table by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. 5.1, discussion and appropriate action, approval of Affordable Care Act reporting and tracking services renewal 2025. Is that yours, Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
just a renewal for a service we use for TAC that reports the employees that have the medical insurance. It's a yearly renewal.
Or is it?
Yes, no additional cost.
So moved.
Motion by
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Noguera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Talamantes. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.2, discussion and appropriate action, approval for County Auditor, Mr. Carlos Pereira, to attend the County Auditor's Conference, April 29th to May 2nd in College Station. Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 5.3, claim docket. General fund, we have $751, $163.73. Dimmit County Airport, $997.89. Dimmit County Golf Course, $14,812.73. Courthouse Security, $5,945.99. Records Management Clerk, $1,421.37. Utilities, $59,106.91. Equitable sharing forfeiture seizures, $15,169. Rodeo Arena, $442.79. Stone Garden, $123,421.94. Operation Lone Star, $34,642.91. Dimmit County Payroll, $511,014.54. The Catarina Water Well Project, $250,000. Tax Note Series 2023, $4,116.92. For a grand total of $1,772,256.72. Motion by Commissioner, Commissioner Carmona.
Second.
Who got me a second? I'm sorry.
Commissioner Noguera.
Second by Commissioner Noguera. I can't, it's because I can't hear, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to recess and adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Uranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. And we will move on to the public facilities. The time is 12:44, Mrs. McDaniel, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all parties are still present and we do have a quorum. And 1.3, approval minutes, regular meeting, March 24, 2025.
Subject to any corrections, so moved.
Commissioner Noguera has said his motion, second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 2.1, discussion and appropriate action, new business.
I usually have a report, but I'm not going to, I was late in picking it up, so I didn't get it prepared in time. I'll get it on the next Commissioner's Court.
No action. 3.1, financial claim docket, public safety, $2,166.20. Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. Do I have a motion to recess and adjourn? I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Second.
Who second?
Second. We both did, but you can pick.
Okay, second. Second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. The time is 12:45 and this meeting has ended. Thank you.